Top 10 reasons why people cheat in relationships. Number 1, revenge or to get you back. Number 2, simply falling out of love. So many relationships start where we feel the butterflies and we can't wait to hear their voice, but after months go by, it's not really love. We fall out of love and the eyes start wandering and they're just looking for something else, something new to get that feeling back. Number 3, situational factors or opportunities. Guy or girl is just out. They weren't really that into the relationship, that they were totally committed. They're drunk, a situation happens, and it happens. Number 4, commitment issues. Some people just don't really feel comfortable in relationships, so in order to get out of them, they'll sometimes cheat, or the relationship's not that important to them, so they'll sometimes cheat for the same reason. Number 5, this is a huge one in America between man and women. Unmet needs. A man's not meeting the woman's needs of safety, security, comfort, financially, and a woman's not meeting the man's needs, oftentimes sexually. Those are the reasons they'll both cheat for those reasons. Number 6, extreme sexual desire. What I'm talking about here are dysfunctional people. People that are like alcoholics, drug addicts, they're sex addicts. Sometimes it's beyond their control. These people need serious therapy. Number 7, some people will just cheat for variety. They can have the best looking guy or the best looking girl in the world, and they'll go and cheat with somebody that they're not even attracted to, just for the variety. Number 8, it's another reason that people cheat, is they have low self-esteem, and they use the cheating, or they take the opportunity that somebody else likes them, makes them feel better, and they'll cheat just to make themselves feel better. Number 9, some people cheat just because they fucking can, and they don't give a shit. These are not good people at all, but there's a lot of them out there. And 10, the last one, not the least one at all, some people cheat to get caught. This is their way of ending a relationship without saying or being truthful that they don't want to be in a relationship anymore. So they just cheat to get caught. Anyway, I hope you learned something today. Have a great weekend. And I'll talk to you soon.
Most husbands hate their wives. They do. I danced for 4 years. I stripped for 4 years. I danced from 2011 to 2015. I know everything there is to know about men, okay? I've never been naive to the bullshit. I found out male nature for what it was at 19 years old. Never been married before. Don't want to ever be married. Don't ever want to have children. I've just seen too much. I know men too much. My father has also been very honest with me about male nature, and just with him being honest just with his own lifestyle, and just how he operates as a man, and even the men that he surrounds himself around, how they operate. And one thing that I noticed at the strip club is that all the married men would trauma dump on me about their wives, how they weren't attracted to their wives anymore. A lot of them lose attraction for their wives after they have children. They start to feel very neglected after their wife has children, and a lot of them complained about how they their wives let themselves go. They're fat, they're overweight, they don't look as pretty anymore. They bicker a lot, they fight a lot, they nag a lot, they complain a lot. And I think that this is very important information for a lot of women to understand and know, because I just did a video about this. But too many women believe that because their husband hasn't left them, that their husband likes them. And that couldn't be any further than the truth. This is why most of the demographic of, men that are buying escorts and OnlyFans and stuff like that, most of them are married. Most of the I always joke around and I always say, there's no man more single than a married man. And the reason why men that are married cheat so much is because they were sold a dream too. They were, through patriarchy, they were sold a dream too. And they were sold a dream that they were going to get all their needs met from one woman. They were going to get their emotional, their sexual, the domestic things taken care of. They were told that they just needed one woman to do that. And then they quickly realized that that's not the case. And we also have to realize that internally, men struggle a lot. Men don't know how to emotionally regulate on their own. They have to have a woman to help them feel comfortable to, emotionally regulate. And so men realize that the vessel can never be filled. The vessel is going to be, it's insatiable. It's insatiable, the need that they have for women and multiple women. And a lot of them don't like their wives. A lot of them don't. Most of them are just tolerating it. They're just tolerating their wife in a marriage because they still get some benefit. They do. They still get some benefit. And also, a lot of men suffer from male character syndrome. A lot of them, they don't want to be the one to bite the bullet to get a divorce because they don't want to be seen as the bad guy. They rather just have the wife file for divorce and be the one that can just take the heat for breaking up the family. But that is one thing that stripping taught me about men, and that's one reason why I would never get married. If you really were to be a fly on the wall with men and their conversations about women and the conversations about their wives, a lot of women would change their tune on how they view marriage, because I can guarantee you that men aren't viewing it the same way as you. Men aren't, they're saying like, oh, I just fell in love with her and like that's the reason. No, like that's just their politically correct answer. That's just the answer that they have to give so that it will be palatable for people. But when the doors are closed, when the mics are off, when the cameras aren't rolling, and they're in a safe space, they're not saying that that's the reason why they even married the woman in the first place. It's because of something that they're benefiting from in some way, shape, or form. It has nothing to do with the actual woman herself. I'm going to make a series of these videos about telling you guys what the strip club has taught me about men, but this is the second video technically of me explaining why and how I know so much about men, and that's the reason why I served men for literally 4 years. I know them very, very well.
You ever wonder why a lot of these guys marry certain women and then cheat on them with other women? It's because at the end of the day, they know that that woman will let them cheat on them because they don't love themselves and they don't look good. They don't take care of themselves, so they're lucky to be with this sort of man. And meanwhile, he'll tell her, oh, you look good natural. You look good with nothing on. You're good. But every time someone walks by that looks a little bit better or is a little bit well dressed, makeup, hair, they're all googly eyed, tongue sticking out. Why? Because that's what they're really attracted to. Okay? So you can't go for what somebody says. You got to go for what they look at and what you realize that they're attracted to. Okay? So I know plenty of guys who married the plain, homely looking woman and cheats on her with everything else. Okay? Because A, she allows him to cheat because she feels like she can't do any better. B, he looks better than her. And C, she don't love herself. So I hope none of you ladies are that kind of woman. And if you are, and you're, and you've left that situation, it's time for a makeover inside and out.
I think the psychology of men has shifted, whereby we look at the mother of our kid and then we look for our life partner. So the mother of your kid becomes the mother of your kid, the person that rears your children, and the lust and that sexual desire then drops. And then you look, that's why men look for the mistress.
Why do people cheat? Okay, let's get into it. People cheat when they lack self-love. Self-loving people leave relationships. They don't betray people. So if you're a self-loving person and you're not feeling it in a relationship anymore, you're going to sit that person down and you're going to bring your grievances to them. You're going to try to work it out. You're going to try to talk it through. But if you are a self-loathing person, a self-sabotaging person, a person who doesn't believe that they are enough, or a person who constantly needs external validation because you can't cultivate self-love. You need to have other people giving you attention, giving you affirmation constantly. that is going to lead to cheating for sure. Because if you can't create that for yourself, you're going to seek it elsewhere. And furthermore, your partner can't do enough to give you that nourishment, that emotional nourishment that you can't cultivate on your own. So the answer is self-care, self-love.
Pay attention, husbands. Do you know why so many of your wives cheat? I'll tell you why. Because you are unavailable. Who your wife talks to determines the way she thinks and the decision she makes. When your wife has someone who gives her lots of attention and communicates with regularly, a part of her will become addicted to that person. And before you know it, the feelings come in. When your wife has feelings for another, sleeping with her becomes very easy. The problem with some of you husbands is that you are so busy chasing after money that you forget about your lonely wives. You must know how to balance your life. Balance things at work and balance things with your wives. Communication, love, and attention grow and keep your wives from cheating.
Men cheat for sex and comfort. Women cheat for attention and understanding. They want someone to understand them. That's why when our women cheat, we hurt more because we know if she spread them thighs, she felt him. When we cheat, she may be hurt, but not as much. Because with us, it could be more superficial. She was 5'5" thick in the thighs. I just had to hit that. You see that? Yeah. But when she spread them thighs, you know she had a connection with that man. Which takes me to another point. Emotionally damaged people are always sexually promiscuous. If you are traumatized, if you are emotionally damaged, you are promiscuous. And do you want to know why? Emotionally traumatized people require constant validation from others. You married to a woman who's been traumatized, abuse, abandonment, whatever. When you're not around her for too many days, she has to entertain another man because her trauma dictates constant validation. And constant validation means I must have a man in my personal space.
My master's dissertation at Oxford on infidelity, and as part of my peer-reviewed research on the subject, I asked 116 women who had affairs why they did it. And today I'll go over the top 3 stated motivations, starting with number 3, revenge. Almost 1 in 6 women in our sample said that they cheated partially because their partner cheated. And there may be some interesting psychological sex difference here, but I don't want to overthink it. Men are more likely to cheat than women, and so women are more likely to get cheated on than men. And so women, when they cheat, just have more opportunity to cite revenge as one of their motivating factors. The second most common motivation was having an uninvested primary partner. Women really care about investment and are attentive to it in selecting mates. And so if you're not invested in the relationship as a man, you're going to be less valuable as a mate. And so risking losing you by having an affair is going to be less of a big deal. It's also possible that affairs can be used to obtain additional resources to compensate for a low investment mate or to obtain a new mate entirely, right? Sometimes women mate switch. And the same can be said of the number 1 motivation, which is relationship dissatisfaction. Most women in our sample said that they were unsatisfied, and they were more likely to say that than men who cheat. And while some scholars interpret this as meaning that women cheat to get out of relationships, I think it's more so a result of the fact that because women's infidelity is more likely to result in relationship dissolution, women who are in highly satisfied relationships are less likely than men to risk it. And finally, I want to put a major caveat on all these findings. It's possible that people in our sample understandably overemphasized sympathetic motivations, like their partner being bad in some way, and undersold less socially acceptable motivations that also may have been present and probably were, like lust. For example, only about 5% of women in our sample self-reported that they were motivated by the physical attractiveness of their affair partner. And yet, when we measured it, women were 77% more likely to prefer their affair partner physically than to prefer their primary partner physically. So I'm a bit skeptical of the conventional wisdom that men's affairs are about physicality and women's are not.
Why women cheat?
If she's starved of validation from her man.
Yeah, that is a big one.
And I would say this is the biggest one.
That is
I think even the good girl can turn bad if she's starved of attention from her man. If your man is pouring water into your cup on a daily basis, she can't see other men. She becomes blind to other men. But you know, when your man, you look beautiful, he doesn't say you look nice, or you don't make time for each other, he ignores you, no longer gives you attention. She's so starved in that moment that unfortunately all it takes is one man to give one bit of attention. She'll zoom in on the attention, forget all the other red flags in this man, and he'll become attractive to her because it's a feeling she's chasing, not a person. Partner might not be giving them as much attention. They're chasing a feeling, and that feeling can be in any person, but that person gives them a feeling, and when that feeling is gone, they no longer need it. And women particularly, is when their partner, if you want to keep a loyal wife, all you have to do is remind her she's loved. It's really simple and easy. You remind her she's loved, she won't seek it. But if you forget to give her that, she'll become desperate for it, unfortunately. Yeah.
Let me tell you the number one reason why women cheat and why we're all so screwed because of it. Women cheat, number one, because of attention. They love attention. It's the new drug. Look at social media. Look at how like everyone gets perked up when they get a like on social media or whatever. So let me explain to you how this kind of can bleed into someone's marriage. So let's say, especially, I was telling someone this the other day, women who were raised and born and always lived their lives as a 5, 6, or 7, okay? These women, never got complimented much in life. They never got much attention. They were always looking at the 8s, 9s, and 10s who were always getting attention. They never had that attention, right? Now they're married. They're into a marriage 5, 10 years, 20 years, whatever. Again, we're talking about modern day women. I'm not talking about women in the 1990s, 2000 even. Things have changed. So now she has dyed her hair. Maybe she's got extensions. I mean, she's upgraded herself a bit. She had her babies. Maybe she got a mommy makeover. And those things are all fine and dandy to do. You should do those. I'm like, pro do that. Pro do whatever you feel. But here's what happens. A 6 turns into a 6.5. A 6 turns into a 7. And let's say she's, going to your son's soccer games. And now there's this dad that's, there. And he thinks she's good looking. And they start following each other on social media because that's innocent, right? Oh, our kids are on the same team. Like, that's so innocent what I'm doing. But she's like, oh my gosh, she asked me to follow him. So that's a little attention tick right there. Next one, she might even try to test it. She might do a gym selfie, a regular selfie, or post a picture on vacation in a bikini. And if that dude likes it, whoa, that's huge for her. Huge attention. You might as well take, that's a drug. That's equal to a drug. So then they start talking more at these games and they're talking about a certain topic. So then they start exchanging memes like, oh, send something funny like through whatever social media, or maybe they have each other's phones at the, phone numbers at this point. That's when it's getting super inappropriate. But it's the attention. And this is when women fall down that rabbit hole because they will go ahead and do it. They'll get the attention from the guy, whether they're having the emotional affair, whether it just stays on text and stays on DMs and stays on whatever, or whether it turns into a little peck, or whether it turns into full-blown schmecks. She's going to get screwed because this guy really doesn't want to be with her. And it's not going to work. Like most affairs, I think only 5% actually work and being married. It's just screwed up. The husband's gonna have to pay her alimony and the kids' child support, and she's gonna be alone, and it's the worst thing to do. I don't say you should do it. I'm just saying this is what's happening. People are destroying their lives, and social media has allowed that to happen. I remember watching a video of this girl that I used to know. She used to be my neighbor. Maybe she's watching this and she knows who she is. But Christian author, I think she's a counselor now. She started posting stuff on social media, and right then I'm like, dude, she is posting it for somebody. These are not normal posts. These are not posted for, is look at this new, loving my new, band shirt. Actually, I don't care if she knows who I'll just give you all the details. Love my new band shirt. I'm like, she's dating someone who's into music. And she show her shoes. She was never like this. She started getting tattoos, and she was always maybe a 6. And I remember I was like, she is absolutely cheating on her husband. Fast forward a few months, husband files for divorce because she cheated on him. You gotta look at the social media. It's so horrible for people. It's not a healthy thing to have social media. I mean, I have it. I get it. This is what I'm doing. I'm trying to help people. If I had it my way, I wouldn't have social media. My husband wouldn't have social media. I mean, he barely has social media, actually. He's got nothing. But that's healthy. Watch out for those 6 and 7s, guys. But other men's attention, the point of this video is other men's attention will ruin a marriage. And people who are 6 and 7s eat that up like they're on a starvation diet. Versus if you married like an 8, 9, 10, they're like, they've always gotten attention. It means nothing to them. So make sure to like, follow, and share this with somebody, anybody.
This topic might trigger some people, but I'm going to tell you why people cheat and why most cheaters actually don't want to leave the relationship. And this isn't gender specific, okay? I've seen it happen on both sides. I'm going to be really straightforward. It has absolutely nothing to do with you. So the number one reason why people cheat is self-sabotage. Deep within their inner selves, there's this belief that you deserve better than them, which causes them to unconsciously undermine the relationship. This occurs due to the anticipation that eventually you will realize you're too good for them and leave, leaving them to now engage in self-destructive behaviors until that moment arrives. They believe eventually you're gonna leave, so might as well do whatever they want until then. The second reason why people cheat is because there's a void, babe. There was a void way before you came into the picture. It's this presence of feeling inadequate or empty or having needs that have gone unmet. So cheating occurs sometimes as this like misguided attempt to fill this void by seeking external validation or satisfaction. And last, which is something I don't think most people really talk about, most cheaters don't want to leave their relationship. They just want the best of both worlds. They literally want to have their cake and eat it too. They're just looking for this temporary dopamine boost. They're not trying to abandon their home. You are their home. You are their emotional anchor. Why do you think it is that when cheaters get caught, they have this emotional meltdown and breakdown over the fact that infidelity is now in the air and you want to leave the relationship? If they were really unhappy, they would be grateful that you did the hard part for them by leaving. A cheater's intention is never to abandon and establish emotional connection. I just want you to remember this, okay? And this is for everybody. Cheating is a personal choice. It is not a reflection of your self-worth or your value. Honesty and respect are the foundation of a relationship, and you deserve somebody who can give you that. Remember, cheating has absolutely nothing to do with you and everything to do with them. We are grown adults here. We do not need to make actions at the expense of somebody else's self-esteem and mental health, especially somebody that loves and adores you. One door closes, another opens, babe.
You know, there's 2 reasons why men cheat. Every scenario that you can think of can be linked to 2 reasons why men cheat, whether in relationships or marriages. 2 reasons. Reason number 1, they are not truthful about who they are. And what I mean by that is they subconsciously do not support monogamy. They support processing women like they're objectives. They want to conquer. They want to do whatever is required of them, like a game, to get you in bed. And they'll say anything. They will disregard any feeling. They will disregard any honesty. They will do literally anything to get you to go to bed with them. And as soon as that's over, yes, they may stick around for a couple of weeks or some months or even some years in some cases, because they feel as though they can be comfortable enough with you, get what they need to satisfy their urges with you specifically, while they go and look for the next person to play games with. But still, they don't support monogamy. They just don't. As soon as they get in a relationship or marriage with you, you see all the online behaviors and all of the bad behaviors and all the pursuing of other women and engaging in conversation with other women. They just don't support monogamy, but they can't say that. The second reason that most men will have affairs or cheat is because of silence. And you know these guys, right? The ones who they were hot and heavy on the pursuit of you, and then once you got involved with them, now you go to dinner for date night, but do you actually talk? You're sitting at a table, you have nothing to talk about. There's no meaningful conversation ever. And these men will get this confidence boost from acquaintances, from coworkers, from women on social media, and they will get all of this feel good saying, oh, I'm worth pursuing, and I'm worth being approached, and I'm worth conversing with. And they will get all of this fed confidence to the point that they recognize that there's nothing to be had at home. Now, it may or may not be their fault, but they don't see it that way, right? It's you're not doing something right, or you're crazy, or you're never happy, or it doesn't matter what they do, or they just don't have enough time, or whatever the excuse is. It comes back to the silent period within the relationship or marriage. And they get that from somewhere else. And it makes them feel good. And they can be the most resilient men. And at some point, they give in because it's something that they want. They want that. They just don't know how to fix it. And most men, whenever they get to that point where they have to decide, oh, yeah, she's just a coworker. Yeah, she's on social media, or she's just an acquaintance, or she's a friend of a friend of a friend. Most of the time, whenever they get to that point, it's because they were putting in so little effort and there was nothing to reciprocate on your part.
Why do you think people cheat? Most people are cheating because something is lacking in the relationship. Plain and simple. It is extremely rare that someone says, nothing's wrong at home, I just wanted to cheat. It happens, but that's not the likely scenario. Something is off. And sometimes it's not that you know it's off. So for example, there's some situations where there's something called the Madonna complex, where a man could be with a woman and he views his woman as like, this is my queen. I can't do nasty, freaky things to her. She's on a certain pedestal, but I still want those nasty, freaky things done. Boy. So that dude will go do it elsewhere. So in that situation, it's not really that something's lacking that she can control. It's his own mindset with it. That exists. But most situations, something is off and people are just unwilling to face what's off.
So basically, because I don't want to slut you out,
and
because I respect
what a shame.
You, I don't want to slut you out.
And what a shame.
I'm not trying to be choking you, donkey you. I want to make love to you, queen.
Please don't do
so
that.
Because I respect you, do you feel like there's some validity to what he said?
I do. I've heard that before. You know, I don't really want to do this and that. You know, I respect you, and I'm like, no, I'm your.
Okay, so there's two reasons why guys cheat, and I'm going to explain it right now. Number one is that man is so insecure, so he has to cheat to make himself feel better. Now, if you noticed, a lot of the time, his girlfriend might be beautiful, and he'll cheat with somebody that doesn't even look as good as her. And the reason number two is guys simply get tired of what they have. They can have the most precious and best thing in front of them. They'll get tired of it. They'll want something else. And that's the sad truth. But let me tell you one thing. The men that truly love their ladies won't cheat.
This is why so many married men cheat. When two people get married, there's all this hope and expectations for an amazing future together. The step from boyfriend-girlfriend to husband and wife is not that big. What really changes a marriage is the birth of a child. Once two people become parents, it's the children who become the main focus in the household. And most couples forget how important it is to keep giving each other attention. And that's how the trouble starts. Maybe the wife doesn't want to do things in bed anymore like she used to do, because now she's a mom. And that is when a husband becomes dissatisfied, because his wife doesn't give it to him anymore like he wants to have it. That's why the most important advice I could ever give to any couple is to never stop date nights. And one more thing, although this goes against every woman's nature, one day your children will leave your house. That's why you always have to put your husband first.
A lot of women need to realize why some men actually cheat. Like, a lot of women don't categorize things. They don't really sit and think it through. Why would an ugly man cheat on you? Why would someone cheat on Beyonce? Why would someone cheat on Halle Berry? Why would someone cheat on someone that the world wishes they could have? You know, why would they do that? Because prior to being with that type of woman, they were the prize. And they missed being the prize. But see, you get an ugly man who was never the prize because he's not famous, then he'll never miss it. So he's less likely to cheat than someone who's used to being the prize. He may still cheat, but you know, it would only be a money thing or a money issue. And then they would probably be gone, but he'll still be trying to get you and maybe buy you a whole new car, new wardrobe, take you wherever. But the point is, if they're never used to being the prize, they're not going to seek out to be the prize. You understand? If they're used to being the prize at some point, they're going to start to miss it and seek it out again. This is why a lot of men cheat. Or if you emasculate them and make them feel less than a man, they're going to go find someone who thinks they're masculine, even if they're ugly or whatnot, just to feel masculine for, a little while. So you got to understand why men cheat. Some cheat just because they can, but the ones that you're going to be targeting probably are going to cheat for different reasons.
Here is why your husbands cheat. 1, the bedroom's completely boring. You don't want to try anything new or do anything at all. He's been asking for years for you to do that one thing and only for you to give him that look like, what are you, sick? But yet the Sancho's willing to do that, not only in bed, but in the car, and she lets him film it. 2, you make him feel like a failure. You've ridiculed him for years. You insult him in front of friends. You call him a 3rd or 5th child. You have no faith in his decision making. You have 0 respect for him. Meanwhile, someone else comes along in his life, makes him feel like the man he once was, when the man that you married, doesn't roll her eyes or make faces for every one of his jokes he tells, and he starts feeling like himself again. 3, he's curious. Ladies, believe it or not, men hit a second puberty around their mid-30s. That's when everything comes into its full form and they're in their prime. You were all he's ever known since he was 21. Now he's getting attention from beautiful women. Before you know it, curiosity gets the best of him. And last trigger warning, you let yourself go. You are no longer the woman you once were. You don't want to do anything. You're no longer the spontaneous, fun woman he once knew, and he's bored.
This is the most common reason why a man will cheat. Even if you're with the nicest, the best guy ever, every man has it in him to cheat. We forget about one very important thing. A man meets you and falls for you because of your looks. And if you like him too, then subconsciously you play a role of this amazing potential girlfriend because you want him to choose you. You make an effort to look good whenever you meet him. And you, by taking care of yourself, you show him that you respect yourself, and that is something that he admires in you. But the truth is that most women in a long-term relationship become sloppy with their appearance. Because for a woman, the most important thing is to feel safe in a relationship. And once she feels safe, she believes that that man now has to accept her just the way she is. And basically literally showing him that she only makes an effort when she has to go out into the world. But when she's with him, her most important person, she doesn't make any effort anymore. But once he sees that you let go of taking care of yourself, you start to eat muesli from a box, you walk around in the house with dirty loungewear, he loses his interest. And I know this is hard to hear, but if you want to be in a long-term relationship with a man who won't wander off with some other girl, you will always have to take care of your appearance, because he wants to be with that woman he signed up for in the beginning, and not with a woman who stopped to care about herself, because to him that means that she also stopped to care about what he thinks about her.
Okay, the number 1 reason why men get mistress is because he feel like he can't talk to you. He knows talking to you, he's going to go into World War I, II, or III. You are not easily approachable. So your man, a lot of men go out and get a mistress or other woman because he could talk to her. She's more easily to talk to, approachable. He tells her everything that he wants to tell you. This is why you ladies get cheated on, because a lot of you ladies are not approachable by your man. So your man shut down or don't tell you the truth. He half tells you the truth. He only tells you what he wants you to know, because he knows if he comes to you, you are going to get combative. That's the reason why he don't tell you anything. And he holds secrets from you, and that's the reason why men date and have a lot of they have a lot of 3 or 4s. The reason why they get 3 or 4, because she ain't gonna talk. She's there for her money. It's a transaction. It's a business transaction. So you guys have to learn how to listen to your husbands. Otherwise, he will get a person that's gonna listen to him. He will get a mistress if he can't talk to you. I'm sorry. You need to be a shoulder to cry on for your man, or you get cheated on.